As some of you may have heard, Hawthorn Coffee, our original cafe, is closing its doors. Unfortunately, we couldn't come to a reasonable agreement with our landlord, so we're closing the cafe. Since announcing the closure, the outpouring of love has been nothing short of incredible. The community has been so kind to us and has shown us that Hawthorn is so important to everyone. Hawthorn has been especially special to me. I figure telling you my perspective on this whole thing may help you digest the loss, or maybe you've never been to Hawthorn in your life and you have this kind of connection to your own space. For me, it started in 2015. I was working at a restaurant that didn't have my best interests in heart, but they did give me specialty coffee training with Intelligentsia, and that's what originally got me hooked on specialty coffee. I needed to interview a couple places around town, and I secured an interview with Hawthorn. When I came in for my interview, Dylan and Kevin were still in build-out mode, but at least we got our introduction. I went on to get a job at Ironsmith Coffee Roasters, and I learned the importance of a good sourcing program, the craft of being on bar, and the value of a great community. That job got me through my Wildland Academy until I was hired by the Forest Service in March 2016. To celebrate, I decided to go to LA specifically to hit awesome coffee shops and to explore the city. The first stop of this LA tour was Minotti's Venice Beach, and I ran into nobody other than Dylan, who I had interviewed with just a couple weeks before and over 120 miles away. When we saw each other, we were bewildered. We asked each other the same thing that we already knew the answer to, which is, "What are you doing here?" And we nodded at the coffee aficionado in each other, and we went our separate ways. For the summer and fall of 2016, I was a full-time wildland firefighter. Many hard days and long nights taught me a lot, and I considered myself lucky. Not only was I chasing my dream and achieving my goals, but I got lucky enough to be hired by Crew 5, a hand crew out of Descanso, California. It didn't take long for us to call ourselves Las Compas just because of how good friends we all were. While important, our job was seasonal, and our season was winding down, so I started to seek my winter employment. I returned to Hawthorn first and was immediately hired upon the spot. Upon getting hired, I was scheduled for the following weekend. Now, the night before my first night at Hawthorn, I got a call that my crew was needed to be back out on the forest. I wanted to honor my word of employment to Hawthorn, so I still went to that first morning shift at 6 a.m. with Kevin. Now, understandably so, Kevin wasn't thrilled about training an employee that was set to immediately leave. I assured him I would work my entire shift and I'd be back soon, as they probably wouldn't keep me all winter. When I returned to the forest, there was plenty of work to do. I immediately returned to my schedule of 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. In late October, I experienced an injury of my knee on the job. But because of the nature of the job, I couldn't get an evaluation of my injury, and I chose to work through it. Working on this knee caused damage to my hip and my back, and by mid-November, my ability to walk was slim. But out of fear of what the true answers were, I chose to go about my days like nothing was wrong. My season came to an official end, and after a couple interviews and reassurance that my season was over, I got rehired and trained at Hawthorn. It didn't take long for Dylan to notice that not only was I injured, but I was too proud to take a day to go get answers. He gave me a full day's pay to go get an MRI, which allowed me to get some answers on my situation and allowed me to begin physical therapy to repair it. Now, up until that point, I'd never had an employer care about me as an individual human being. Dylan owed me nothing, but showed me what a good employer can do for an employee, and I was instantly hooked. My first couple years at Hawthorn were simply fun. Working with the Cat and Claw guys were simply a blast. I felt like I was always learning something, and Hawthorn was full of inspiration. Our mission statement quickly became, "Let people leave better than when they came." To come and work every day with that mission statement was a blast as an employee and put us on the map as a top hospitality spot in San Diego. I started reading books by hospitality greats like Will Jadara and Danny Meyer and tried to incorporate unreasonable hospitality to any work experience. And after 2.5 years of doing that, in 2019, we started Compa Coffee Roasters. It was a name that we each held beloved for our own personal reasons, and from it grew pride and attachment to coffee that we had never had before. We studied, experimented, tasted many failures on our way, and eventually, one coffee at a time, we took over the whole bar with our own coffee. 2020 was a rough year for Hawthorn. For the first time in its 5 years of experience, we had to close for 3 months. And when we reopened in May, the version of Hawthorn that we were left with was just window service. But we were able to remain our hospitable selves in what was seemingly a non-hospitable time. In mid-2021, the seating was back at Hawthorn, and so was the inspiration. Gratitude for the little things in the cafe, like physical newspapers or friends' toddlers or classes after hours, that was back in full force. Now, these last few years were an expression of our inspiration. More complex seasonals, better merch, and a constantly packed cafe gave us the inspiration to open our second cafe, which we opened in October 2023. Hawthorn has always been a source of pride for me. Serving this community has been nothing short of a pleasure and a privilege. While we all have our ways of grieving having to move out of 3019 Adams, I can't help but smile knowing how big of an impact our little home made. Thankfully, we have another cafe making its own impact while we find a way to open another concept somewhere near central San Diego. This Saturday, March 29th, will be our last day of service in our cafe. So please come by for a day of celebration. Let's fill the cafe with laughter and stories of old until we can host you at our new RB location. Comment your favorite Hawthorn memories below, and I genuinely hope to see you soon. Thank you for everything.